Hello folks, it's Halloween day and the wind blew up in the middle of the night and it's still very windy and wet. There's a big tree outside and it's bending in two with the wind, and yeah, it's not looking great. But I thought, instead of sitting at my computer looking at YouTube videos, I thought I would sit on my sofa in silence and do an EVP recording and use the wind as a kind of a background support, which helps with EVPs. I thought the wind would help, and I sat down on my sofa and I called out, tried to communicate with the spirits in a more sort of human way rather than asking the same old questions and that. Sort of a practice session, if you know what I mean. But anyway, I have this recording. What it actually turned into was a rant of the week in a kind of reflection form. What's been going through my mind in regard to the paranormal journey and stuff like that. It's not a negative thing. It's just I got a little bit flustered this week. I wonder what direction do I go here, and you know, I've been very frustrated all week, and in the middle of the night it kind of came to me. So I speak about my light at the end of that tunnel, of where am I going to go in this paranormal journey and that. So it was supposed to be an EVP recording session and listen back and put my headphones on, putting it through audio software to see if I got reactions. So I was going to sit here and just talk normally. I ended up with this kind of reflection and that. So I'm just going to play the reflection actually, because I thought I came up with some good points there. So I'm not going to edit this recording. There's a lot of dead air between. But after all, I was in the middle of an EVP recording, like. But if you want to put on your headphones and see, did I get a reaction while I spoke to the recorder, and say what's on my mind, you know, feel free. It's just a relaxing thing. I didn't want to edit out the dead air. So here's the recording from earlier on today. Just relax and enjoy. Right. It's Halloween Day. It's the 31st of October. It's been a stormy night. It's been a very rainy night as well. So, but it's around midday. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do is sit here and do some calling out, because maybe the sound of the wind will help with audio background support for EVPs. So I have a device on the table. if you wish to speak and have your voices heard, that device on the table will help you do that. May not hear your voice right now, but I will hear your voice when I listen back. My name is Sam. I may or may not have spoken to you before. As long as you have good intentions, you're welcome to communicate. You're welcome to talk. I'm here to try and understand your word. Try and give you a voice. Try and understand. I would be grateful if you would help me understand and communicate with me. I've got no ill intent. I just want to learn and I want to understand. That's why I do this. That's why I'm here. Would you like to tell us what your name is? What do we call you? The weather is awful today. Very, very windy and horrible rain. That sound is okay, as long as it's not, the wind is not blowing into the microphone. Those kind of sounds are okay. I've been doing paranormal investigation for a couple of years now. Been going out to places. Getting my equipment out and setting it up. Every so often I stop and think, what way can I do it better? What way can I change things? What way can I do things in a way that I can learn, And I've come to them times again where I'm questioning what I'm doing. Up until now I've been watching other people's videos, watching other people, the way they do things. And all week I've been thinking, what way can I change this? What way can I learn more? And I'm not a good person for books. I don't read so good. But this morning I ordered 3 of Annabella Cardosa's books on EVPs. 2 were on EVPs, and one was a journal on Marcello Bacci, which got me interested in spirit voices in the first place. So I'm looking forward to getting those. Read them bit by bit and see what I can learn from them. Especially around the EVP side of things. I've seen the ghost hunters go out and take out the recorder. Guys will do a EVP session, ask a couple of questions and then stop and play it back. I don't necessarily I don't agree with that method for myself. People make their own choices, but a couple of reasons why I wouldn't do. I did in the beginning. I copied everybody else, but when you have a recording session, like you would have Spirit Box session, that's the way I'm doing them. That's the way I'm doing them here at home. Put on my recorder, have some background audio support to help with the EVPs. Today it's the wind outside. And just record like you would do with a Spirit Box session. Sit down, have a conversation. Used to ask the same questions over and over again as well. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if these are spirits of dead people, why don't I just have a conversation like I'm talking to people? I'm sure if there's human spirits and I'm asking the same questions over and over again, if I put myself in their shoes, I would be a bit annoyed myself. Watching people going around with recorders and seeing, are you dead? When did you die? If you ask that to a living person, they would go, really? What the hell is wrong with you? But I suppose we all make mistakes. And it's the learning. The learning from that. You know, when I've watched paranormal investigations and stuff, you know, very few I watch actually now. One of the reasons for that is the unwillingness to change. You know, a routine. Trying to do things different. And I think some, they go out to a location to get a load of equipment out, they line it up in a room and then they start asking questions. Ask them to interact with this and that and that. I've done it myself. But it just, sometimes I see the same thing over and over again. And that's what made me want to change. I seen it on other teams, and I says I don't want to be that, you know. Maybe some teams are happy that their REM pods went off, and are all excited about that. Get a few words on the spirit box and stuff. But anytime something like that happens, I often wonder, how did they do that? How is it achieved? You know, just thinking deeply. That's why I decided to write some books. Read some books. Because I've looked on YouTube. You type in electronic voice phenomenon, you get spirit box sessions from people that are trying to hype up their channel by saying they spoke to demons and all that stuff. Yeah, you get a little bit about older science and stuff, but not as much as ghost hunting and stuff like that. So that's why I went down the book route, to learn more about EVPs and sound and stuff like that. It's going to be difficult because I can't read very well, but it's one of the things I have to face if I want to learn, you know, and I do. This last week has been a lot of reflection for me. Every so often I would stop and do that. Because I want to take steps. And it's got nothing to do with YouTube channels, people viewing your stuff and saying, oh, that's a great job, great investigation or whatever. With the paranormal, you have to put the paranormal first. Otherwise, you're just a video maker, really. Had I fallen into that kind of trap myself? I suppose I have in some ways. I had done that. Thing about putting your stuff out on YouTube, very often it's people, you put your stuff out on YouTube looking for approval from other people. But are you really satisfying yourself? That's the question I asked this week. In a rush to put out content and engage with audience on YouTube or your social medias or whatever. But are you being fulfilled yourself? And I sort of wasn't. And that got me in the situation I'm in now, where I had to start doing a lot of thinking. I suppose that's progress, I suppose. But I felt like if I kept going around in the same routine, going out to an investigation because in the back of your mind you're thinking this is going to be a great video. And I have to say that a lot of the time that was my mindset. But then I questioned myself, well, am I satisfying myself? You know, is my focus in the wrong place? And I think sometimes it was. You know, paranormal investigator, what it really means is you're investigating the paranormal. And I think a lot of what I seen with paranormal investigators were to get excited that the REM pod went off. And at the end of the night, guys, we got great activity tonight. The REM pod went off and the K2 meter went off. But when you look really deep into it, it's like a police investigation on a crime scene and finding a bullet and getting excited. Guys, we found the bullet. And that's it. Finding the bullet doesn't solve the crime. It's only part of it, you know? You know, so sometimes we have to ask ourselves when we go out and investigate, are we going out and just finding the bullet and happy enough with that? Or do we want to investigate further and learn more? Let's face it, we may not solve the whole mystery, but we may learn more. I suppose it's goal shifting, I think. Suppose when you're paranormal investigating and you get evidence but you want more, that's a good thing. But one needs to ask, Why do you want to get that evidence? Do you want to get that evidence so you'll be very popular on YouTube or Facebook or whatever social medias people stream on? Or do you want to have that experience for yourself? Remember at the beginning of this, paranormal investigator says, why are you in such a rush to put out a video on YouTube? I says it was like doing that. I like documenting that, and I kind of document it for myself and stuff. And they says to me, make sure that you put your paranormal investigating first. Because these people I was working with, they didn't film everywhere they went. Personally myself, I like having the camera and film every single second of an investigation. These people didn't. Their goal at the end of the day, and they went out every week. Then they would write up on their Facebook, guys, we had a great investigation and such castle, it was brilliant. This happened, that happened, and all the rest of it. Very often the public didn't even see what they got. It took me a while to understand that. But in their minds, they witnessed something that was good enough for them. I suppose it's good enough for me too. But at the same time, I would like to have some video footage that I can look back on too. You know? If something like that came into my head one day and I would sit down then and I could look back on the video and say, gee, remember that night was great. The other question I put to myself, are people still people still got a misunderstanding about the paranormal? Is it still creepy and scary to everybody? And is that what they're looking for? And a lot of cases it is, I'm afraid, still. It's labelled, the paranormal is labelled, mostly by Hollywood. Most of the time we go out, we do the job, and we gather our evidence, we come home. Sometimes we don't even know what we got. And we spend a month, or at least a couple of weeks, going through everything. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, but some of the time, a lot of the time we went out, a lot of the stuff we wouldn't have caught on the moment. I see ghost hunting channels too. To go out every night. Oh guys, we're going to be all out every night this week, so you have plenty of content and all the rest of it. When they come on, put what you see in the comments, timestamp it, take screenshots that they can look back on. but they don't spend weeks looking through the content. Even the viewers miss things. Even with audio, you know, you can get some amazing stuff embedded deep in the audio that you can barely hear with your human ear. You have to put it through the software. You have to sometimes clean it up. You have to boost the volume, amplify it up. Not everything is plain for everybody to see. Yeah, people put their headphones on at an investigation. They put their headphones on, they feel part of the investigation. But a lot of the time you really need to go back on that. You need to put your footage through audio analysis and watch everything frame for frame, because even the viewers miss things. The viewers are very sharp-eyed because that's what they're interested in. But sometimes when it comes to audio, you really have to dig deep. Very often what we hear at the human ear is only this. It's only the skin on the top, I'm afraid. That's why I wanted to learn more about audio and stuff. More about the software, more about how to get EVPs. More about the methods. What background audio support to use. All that kind of stuff. I was pretty annoyed with myself this week. Well, I was pretty just flustered in general. What direction I was going to go. And things are starting to come clear now, which is a good thing, because I was getting a bit disheartened. With a lot of the stuff I see on YouTube. Drama, over-exaggerated investigations, in a scary kind of category and stuff. I'm just not into that kind of stuff. I'm not into the scary, creepy, label put on the paranormal, which, a large percentage of it really isn't. Yeah, we've had weird experiences and stuff, but I think most of the time, most of the things that makes us scared or make us say that something's creepy or whatever, I think it's a lot of the time it's our misunderstanding of the paranormal. Because at the end of the day, we only know a percentage of it. You go into a job, you get trained for that job. This is how you do this is how you do that. You get training for the job, you get instructions. The paranormal have very vague instructions, because at the end of the day, nobody knows what they're flipping doing. What are we searching for? are we searching for what we imagine the paranormal to be? Or is it a completely different reality that we never imagined at all? You know, when we take a journey into something, we like to have an image in our head. But actually, is that image that we put in our head to imagine this may be what the paranormal looks like, is that a true reflection of what we are delving into? So in a way, working in the paranormal field is probably one of the hardest jobs in the world, because we don't know. We're doing work and research on something we don't know anything about. I think one thing that was annoying me a bit was the stereotypical paranormal ghost hunting stuff. Going into graveyards, freaking out. Guys, did you hear that? Jumping to conclusions. See, that's the thing. Anybody can be a paranormal investigator. But then you have to ask yourself, is some of these people, are they really paranormal investigators, or are they just scary video makers? You know? And I've looked at a lot of stuff, and I will put a lot of that category, a lot of the stuff that I watch into the scary video category, and not paranormal investigator at all. Because the priority's in the wrong place. And maybe some of them don't even know better. They don't know better because they watch somebody on YouTube and they want to be like that. They want to experience like that, and they just copy they copy who they look up to. But the question is the people that they looked up to, are they doing the right thing? Is their focus in the right place? You know? This was supposed to be an EVP session, a recording to see if any voices come through in the recorder. And I ended up in a rant. It's not off and my computer is silent, but I just thought I needed to sit and reflect for a while. Because I'm sitting at that computer watching stuff most of the time, and I just wanted a break from that routine and just step back from it for a while and really reflect. Sort of needed to reflect without extractions or distractions. I needed to reflect without distractions. So that's why I took this time to sit down, listen to the wind. Well, my first intention was to do an EVP session, but I ended up doing this rant. Maybe I did get feedback from the spirits. I don't know until I listen back. I just don't know. Lately I've upgraded my audio recorders to Zoom. A Zoom H1 I'm recording on now, and I have a Zoom H4, and I bought, just arrived yesterday, was a little pouch where you open the little flaps to get at the controls and stuff, and it's a kind of a protective pouch that you can keep on the recorder all the time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to doing tricky stuff with that, because with some of these kind of recorders, you can record multiple tracks, and you can plug in different audio sources. For example, you could have a spirit box running, and you could have the spirit box plugged into the recorder, and then you could have your voice plugged into another part of the recorder, and you could have your voice recorded separate from the spirit box. And if the spirit box was too loud and drowning out my voice, I can adjust the levels in Pro, in editing, because it's two different files, not hugely technical, so a lot of this equipment, it takes a bit of sort of getting used to, and I have another Tascam recorder with loads and loads of settings and channels and stuff, and I took it out a couple of times, filtered around with it, but I think I'm going to have to sit down and read the instructions and look at more videos before I get the hang of that. But I think I'm going to finish now, because I think I have my rant over with. As it says, I was intending to do an EVP session and just call out naturally, as if I'm having a conversation. Turns out I'm talking to my viewers and stuff on what's been going on in my mind lately, I had a bit of a downer this week. Sort of been lost. Where do I go from here? But I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes we try to learn, and I find that with myself, I try to learn, but then realise I'm going around in circles, doing the same thing, or getting the same information from the same sources and stuff. And I broke from that circle today. Actually, in the middle of the night it came to me. Buy some more books and read the books. So, 3 books from Annabella Cardoso ordered from Amazon that I should get on the 3rd of November. So, hopefully, I will get a lot from them, because she did start up a channel and there was a handful of videos, but she hasn't uploaded a video in a long time. But the information in those videos were absolutely brilliant. But the normal stereotypical ghost hunter doesn't not interested in stuff like that. You know? I don't even know does many of the people that go out and investigate with their equipment in PSP7, do they actually know the history of how the PSP7 is the way it is? You know, do they know anything about Frank Sumption? I would guess that some of them never even heard of Frank Sumption or Marcello Bacci or Annabella Cardoso or any of those. Or do they give a shit? I don't know. You know, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to go, because these are the people that done the heavy research. They done the heavy work, you know. You know, the information is out there. It's out there for us. It's up to us to grab it. I decided I'll grab it because I'm interested in the paranormal. I want to go beyond going out and paranormal investigating and stuff. And I want to get a greater understanding of electronic voice phenomenon and EVPs and ITC in general. And I just wasn't getting it from YouTube. You know, I just wasn't getting it. You type in anything about the paranormal, the scary stuff comes up first in the flipping search. Or Steve Huff, which is really annoying, you know. But folks, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna make another cup of coffee and try and wake myself up. The sound of that wind. It's great in here, but there's no way I'm going outside that door today. Not a chance, folks, not a chance. And I think even if there was no lockdown, or we weren't in the situation that we're in, Derry, it's said that Derry is one of the biggest places to be on Halloween night, with the festival of the Halloween. A lot of things goes on. Stuff goes on in the theatre, street performers, parades, and a massive fireworks display. So even without the world conditions that we're in this year, and if it still was going ahead this year, I couldn't see the fireworks going off tonight. Not with that wind. You know. Anyway, folks, I'm gonna go and make myself some coffee. I'll see you in another video. Thank you for listening, and yeah, talk to you again soon.